This meeting is being recorded.
Thanks, Bill.
Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Has attendance been taken?
It has.
Thank you, sir. Before the approval of the minutes, the chair would like to recognize Mr. Stedman. And if Mr. Stedman would please be allowed to share his screen.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Can you all see the image on the screen now?
Yes.
So John was not quite 74 years old. This is the tribute that we prepared for him. And I'll read it. John's love for Norwalk Harbor began when he was very young and grew throughout his life. He served our city with great distinction on the Harbor Management Commission, where his intelligence, devotion to public service, and strong and fair leadership advanced the public interest and helped protect the harbor's exceptional resources for future generations to enjoy. So we miss him and respect him, and I guess we'll all carry on and remember what John accomplished and try to do a good job and
Thank you for
do a
sharing
good job and live up to the ideal that he set. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I'd like to offer a moment of silence, please, in John's memory. Thank you all.
And we also might say a prayer for his wife and whose mother and brother are in Odessa, Ukraine, and are not having the best time of it. So his family is going through a lot.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Approval of the minutes. We do not have, oh, we do have a quorum. I see Mr. Pagler signing in. John, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, sir. So approval of the minutes, if I can have a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Tom Paisley seconds.
Thank you, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment. We do have one attendee. Attendee, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand to be recognized by the moderator.
I see nothing, Steve.
Thank you very much, sir. Jim, we'll recognize you in new business unless you want something to speak to now.
His hand went up, Stephen.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, new business is fine.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Treasurer's report.
I was able to get something for you in place of that. Just the March balance was $24,995.31. Still processing the invoice regarding the flowers for John Romano. So that's still in the works. So that'll come out probably maybe for next month.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
So there will be no secretary's report. The committee reports. Bill again, Department of Health.
Sure. Rainfall for the month of July was 3.52. Last year it was 11.69. On average, it's 3.83. We had two closures on 7/18 and 7/26 due to rainfall. There was no bypasses, but there was what's called an exceedance of permit back on July 6th. And the Shellfish, they did shut down some of the beds for a week because I think out of abundance of caution, but they did that as a result of that. It's not considered a bypass technically, but evidently there was some residual chlorine left in the line, with the actual chlorinating line was shut down between 4 and 6 hours. For some reason, they're still trying to determine what happened on that. The Shellfish line itself was down for part of the day on the 7/25 and 7/26, but we managed to get that fixed fairly quickly. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you very much, Bill. That's great. No one here from wastewater treatment. Mayor's Water Quality Committee, Chairman Schneerlein, please.
Thank you, Chairman Bartish. We just had our meeting and there were several issues that we had to address. First of all was the USGS data. The water in the harbor right now is getting up near 80 degrees, which is very, very warm for this area. That's by the aquarium. Yet out by Cove Marine, it's in the upper 70s. These both, because of the warmer water, have affected dissolved oxygen levels. And oxygen levels in the river right now have gone down almost every night to down near zero. So it's pretty good for us to expect some type of fish kill if we get large schools of fish that come in. But most of you guys are aware of that already. The other thing we discussed was UConn has a program called Project Clear, and they can assign undergraduate students to come in and study certain areas that have runoff issues from impermeable surfaces. Louise Washer sent us that because she's in charge of the Norwalk River watershed. And we're going to pass that on to City Hall and see if we can get some interest from that. And then also of concern was the consent decree that Connecticut Deep has sent to Norwalk and has been signed off on here in Norwalk, indicating that we have had past violations with our sewage treatment plant. And it's time that the city get up to snuff on it and stop tap dancing around. We did not know about this, and yet we should have known about it because we were the mayor's water quality committee. So we're going to try and find out why we weren't alerted to the fact. And I can guess, but I'm not going to say it publicly. And then the other thing is, Diane wanted ideas for the next generation of the MS4s so that she can put a brief together and address it with the city agencies that put the MS4 together. And then Dick Harris has discovered a new shrimp here in Norwalk. It's common in Florida. It's called a peppermint shrimp. And for any of you guys that are out fishing or trawling, if you get shrimp in with your catches, it's an all red shrimp. It doesn't look like peppermint. It literally is all red. And what he was able to find out was that this is a common shrimp in warmer waters, but you can buy them. And people that have aquariums buy them, have them shipped to their aquariums. And the ones that they caught this past week were all gravids. They were loaded with eggs. So it's reasonable to think that they might reproduce here. And if we get lucky and have a very cold winter, it might end their visit to Norwalk. But if it stays fairly warm through the winter, they might survive the winter here and we might have a new shrimp. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thank you. Great report. Permits. So they're still on sale at Fisherman's World. I have met the owner's daughter at the new tackle and bait shop on Winfield Street. And I would encourage the commissioners and everyone to visit them. Let's get to know them toward the view of asking them to sell permits beginning in January for the 2023 season. Police, I know that we have a report, Bill.
Yes, there was no arrests or warnings. Activity was down, likely due to parking costs. They're up to speed with flags, and Pete is retiring at the end of the month.
Thanks, Bill. And the Shellfish Commission extends its congratulations to Sergeant Lepak, and thanks for all of his years of service to this commission and the community. Just a great man. We have no advisory tonight. We did have a discussion already of the water temperature around 80 degrees. Norwalk Harbor Management Commission, Mr. Stedman.
I'll say that the same report, give the same report as I just gave to the Water Quality Committee. Since your last meeting, we've received a copy of the DEEP permit issued to the Department of Transportation for replacement of the walk bridge. And the commission discussed this at its last meeting and agreed to send 2 letters. One would be to the DEEP hearing officer who made the final recommendation to approve the permit. And the letter would be to express the Harbor Commission's concerns that the comments and recommendations of the Harbor Commission were not identified or acknowledged in any substantive way and were not addressed at all. That letter would go to the DEEP hearing officer. The second letter would go to the Attorney General's office requesting clarification concerning the authority of the Harbor Master to issue mooring permits in Norwalk Harbor and to station all vessels. The DEEP permit grants to the DOT the permission to moor construction barges and work barges in 3 separate areas in the harbor, but makes no acknowledgement or recognition of the Harbor Master's authority to also issue mooring permits. And the Harbor Master wasn't consulted in these several permitted mooring areas, one of which is in the federal South Anchorage, and would result in the displacement of recreational boats that have traditionally received permits there. The other permitted mooring area is just south of the visitors dock in the area that the Harbor Commission was considering placing moorings for visiting boaters. And the third area is out by the Greensledge Lighthouse, fit in an area surrounded by private shellfish beds. And we had asked that comments from the shellfish bed owners and their considerations be addressed before the permits were issued, but none of those recommendations were followed. And so we're sending a letter to the Attorney General's office to confirm that the Harbor Master, as the statute says, has the authority to station all vessels in Norwalk Harbor, and that no vessel may be moored in the harbor without a permit from the Harbor Master. So we'll keep you aware of how that proceeds and what responses we get. And you might also say that when we submitted our comments, we also included the comments made by the Shellfish Commission. And in a number of those comments, the 2 commissions expressed common concerns having to do with water quality testing, for example. But none of those comments were acknowledged or addressed. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Jeff, would you mind just speaking on Monday's event in Fairfield briefly?
Okay, but so on Monday at Ash Creek, which is near the South Benson Marina in Fairfield, the Yukon and the Bureau of Aquaculture will be having an event, if that's the right way. And we understand that the governor will be attending, and so will the Commissioner of Deep and the Commissioner of Agriculture. And it's to announce the issuance or the completion of the statewide shellfish restoration plan, which we contributed to. And one of the priority areas for enhancement is the area south of Veterans Park. So that the event on Monday at 1:30 is to, I guess, highlight the issuance of that plan. And they're holding it at the Ash Creek area in Fairfield, because that's an area where the Fairfield Shellfish Commission has done a significant amount of work with respect to restoring shellfish habitat. So I look forward to going to that and reporting back to you, Steve, if no one from this group.
Yeah, I can't make that one. Thank you so much, Jeff. Moderator, Secretary, let the record show that Commissioner Sachinelli has joined the meeting. I would like a motion to accept the committee reports. Thank you, ma'am.
Make a motion to accept the committee report.
A second, please.
Second.
Thank you. In favor? Any opposed or abstentions?
You need one more.
Thank you.
Stephen,
Sir,
you only had 2 vote yes.
no, I thought I heard 3.
I seconded, so yes, I vote yes.
All right, good enough.
Thank you. Old business, commissioners? Tim, do you have any old business you'd like to discuss with us?
No, none at this time.
Thank you, Captain. Under new business is a pier ramp and dock combination being represented by Mr. Bajek. Jim, if you would please take the floor.
Sure, I'd be glad to. What we're going to be applying to the Connecticut Deep for modifying a dock at 27 Rowayton Avenue in the 5 Mile River for Peter Gagne. There is an existing dock there, which was permitted back in 2005 to a previous owner. The dock is currently and isn't in its best configuration for having a boat at it, such that the float that comes off the end of the dock is at an angle, and it's not perpendicular to the channel like other docks are in the river. And what we're proposing to do is to extend the existing pier by an additional 32 feet and reposition the ramp and float so the float is parallel to the river. I'm not sure how to share this. Do I hit shared screen to get a plan up?
Yes, you should be able to do that.
All right, let me try that. Let's see.
It's starting to come up now. There you go, it's up.
Okay. All right. This is the location, 27 Rowayton Avenue. And this is the existing dock configuration. You can see how the float is like 45 degrees off from the Federal Channel. And there's also there's a rock out here that boaters, I've been told in the past, have hit. It's a pretty sizable boulder, roughly 3 or 4 feet in diameter. And what we're proposing to do is straighten out, put this addition to the pier, and then use the same ramp and float, but turn the float, so like I say, so it's more perpendicular, parallel to the channel. That rock is somewhere in this area right here. So in effect, this new dock configuration will be kind of a marker of a sort for boaters, so they won't, they'll have to go around the dock, of course, the new location. But it would at least make things a little safer for boaters in this area. The new distance between the edge of the proposed new float location and the Federal Channel would be about 70 feet away. So it's our feeling that distance is sufficient to allow boaters that don't want to use the channel, small boats, kayakers and such, they'll still have plenty of room, and there's still room for the boat moorings and that sort of thing. And we're still keeping within the lines of the riparian rights of the owner and not infringing on others. I guess I welcome any comments at this point. Questions?
Thanks, Jim. What is the total encroachment? So from the head of the pier there at mean high water to the waterward terminus of the floating dock?
That would be roughly 70 feet. Well, actually, no, it'd be less than that. Right now, the way the dock is situated, it extends about 135 feet from the shoreline. And with the proposed modifications, it would be about 160 feet. So we're talking about a difference of about 25 feet.
So you had mentioned that it was a 32-foot extension. I'm a little confused with the two distances.
Yeah, it's a 32-foot extension, but by straightening things out and and turning the float so it's parallel to the channel, that turning of the float shares with shortening that distance. So by the turning of the float, the 32-foot extension becomes 25 feet. The overall encroachment.
Gotcha. Mr. Stedman, please.
I'm just curious because it's not the jurisdiction of the Harbor Commission, but Jim, that bottom line that you have across the page near the proposed dock, that's your extension of the property line?
No, it's not. No, you're talking about this line right here.
Yeah, that line there. What's that?
This is what is typically done in the 5 Mile River to show riparian rights. Instead of extending the property line, which would go something like that, in the 5 Mile River, traditionally, the property line from the mean high water extends perpendicular to the federal channel in the water.
Well, I understand that. I'm just commenting on you then have a 2-foot setback or thereabouts from that extended line. And I know in Norwalk Harbor, the commission tries to follow the Corps of Engineers guideline, which is 25 feet. So in effect, your setback is little, if any. But again, it's not our jurisdiction. I just raised that for consideration by the Shellfish Commission.
This is what was permitted right here. So the distance from this edge of the float to that line is, let's see, about 5 feet. And to your comment, the Harbor Commission typically wants the extension of the property line to be in a straight line. So if we actually did it in a straight line, that distance would be considerably more.
Again, it's not my position to make comments other than we know that there are different ways of drawing the property lines dependent on the configuration of the shoreline and whether there is a federal channel. I just raised that for consideration by the Shellfish Commission.
Yeah, well, I was involved in the original permitting for this back in 2005. And because this area has such a large shoal, then the agencies at the time wanted us to keep the dock as short as possible. And this is what the owner at the time agreed to. It's just that it's not working out well at all for their boat. Their boat gets broadsided by the southerly winds and waves that come up the river, and by straightening the float out, it'll make it a much safer configuration for the owner's boat to have the wind and waves hit the bow of the boat head on. So in order to have a dock more or less in the center of this property, you would have to have an extremely long dock. So at the time, there was a compromise that was drawn to have the dock in this position. But we're finding out that it's not a very safe position, and the owner's boat is really being racked around, and it's damaging things, and it's not safe. So I guess we'll have to deal with those issues with the Harbor Commission if they come up.
Well, the Harbor Commission won't take this up. I'm just happen to make comments on this because this is outside of the Harbor Commission's jurisdiction.
Well, it's in the 5 Mile River Commission.
5 Mile River Commission, yes,
Yeah.
not the Norwalk Harbor.
Not the Norwalk Harbor, right.
And then I'd also maybe ask if you had a pre-application discussion about this with Deep, and then for our own education, who from Deep now is dealing with the applications in Norwalk since Ms. Bailey retired?
We've had discussions with Deep on this on many occasions, starting with Sue Bailey, and Sue Jacobson has now taken over more or less any applications in the Norwalk. So we've been discussing things with her as well.
So again, sorry, Steve, to interrupt. I just thought those might be
Important
useful
points, Jeff.
discussion to have.
Thank you. Jim, so just take the hypothetical. If we were just to straighten this ramp and have with the existing pier and have the dock be parallel with the federal channel versus the proposed lengthening of the dock, how much more water is the applicant getting at low tide?
Well, right now, the applicant has about 1 foot of water at low tide along the face of the float. And by making the adjustment, you're looking at anywhere from basically 2 to 3 feet mean low water. So we're gaining 1 to 2 feet across the side of the float.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So if you see where the 2 foot pointer points to there, I'm pointing to the, I guess that would be the southwest terminus of the dock.
Yeah.
All right, so from that southwest corner of the dock, would it be possible to provide us a measurement from there all the way up to the first piling on the north side as one is going down the pier? If you could point to that with your cursor, just so that we're clear what we're talking about. No,
Yeah.
sir, all the way landward. Keep going. Yes, right there. Not right there.
Right there. To
No,
the
the first pile.
first pile, right there.
Yeah, if we could have a measurement from that pile to that southwest corner of the dock, that would be useful.
All the way over here.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem there. That would be about 161 feet.
Let me just write it down.
That's a straight line to that corner?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And as usual, I'd recommend that we do a site inspection, and we could use this drawing and the measurements. I know, Jim, you've just submitted this. Did you have a chance to send it to the health department in the form of a paper copy?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. So I'm definitely interested in a site inspection. Discussion, commissioners?
How soon do you want to make that site inspection?
I'll have to look at the calendar for the next low tide, but I'd like to get it done within the next 2 weeks.
I can meet you out there next week, Steve.
Okay, sounds
Any-
good.
Anytime, anytime.
Great. I'll extend an invite to our counterparts at the 5 Mile River Commission. And maybe we could even get someone to come in by canoe and hold my 300-foot tape out there so that we could get an idea of what we're talking about here. Any other comments? Any opposition to tabling this pending a site inspection?
We need a motion to table it.
I'd appreciate it.
You got a
I,
motion?
I so moved or seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. So we'll do that for you and for Mr. Gagne, Jim. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'll make sure that the owner knows that you'll be coming out.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Excuse me,
Thank
through
you.
the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
When the drawings are up, I can't see who's making the motions because I can't, my screen just shows the drawing.
Okay,
I don't know.
Commissioner,
So John Pagler made the motion, or I seconded, whichever order that.
Okay, John
Yep.
Pagler, and who seconded?
Joe Mataferry.
Mr. Mataferry? Okay, there you all are. Okay, thank you.
thank you very much. Any other new business? Enjoy the rest of your August, everyone. Let's have a good rest of our summer. And they're saying that the non-tropical storm activity is supposed to increase, so let's hope that doesn't happen. And we'll see everyone in September.
Or bring some colder water in.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay safe out there.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Joe.
Thanks.
God bless
A
you,
motion
Joe.
to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
In favor.
Nikki.
Aye.
See you all next month.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you, sirs. Thank you, everyone. Remember
Bye.
John Romano.
Thank you. God bless John. God bless. Boom.